Welcome to Dr. Cherie's podcast. I'm so glad you joined us again today because I have one of my favorite people on, and she is not only a nice person, a kind person, a generous person, she's also brilliant. Shiri Ben-Arzi is the president, founder, and inspirational leader of MCI, Medical Coaching International. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it because I think it's really important in these challenging moments of our lives. Shiri had her own experience medically. It was a crisis, personal crisis, and out of that crisis, she turned it around, and then she created an organization to help other people turn their situations around and become senior to their conditions and their circumstances. Now, it's out of that experience that she lends her wisdom to us today about dealing with a crisis and being sane and making that crisis into something that you can learn lessons from, that you can use as a gift, and that you don't have to succumb to the very worst aspects of our human nature in dealing with that crisis. So join me in welcoming back my dear friend, and in a sense, my medical mentor, Cherie Ben-Arzi. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Happy to have you back on.
I'm happy to be back.
Okay, so today we are going to talk about the new normal, and I'll give you my little quote on the new normal, and then I'm going to let you give us some of your wisdom about dealing with crises that don't seem to have an end. Okay, so my quote of the day is, let go of the past, deal with the present, and embrace the future, even though you don't know what it's going to look like. So how do we deal with a future that is so unpredictable at this moment in time?
First of all, we learn to fully be present right now, because the future is never really known. I mean, we have these theories, and there's certain things that we want, and we have all these thoughts, should have, needs to be, I planned it. You know, there's a saying, God laughs while man makes plans. So we can make plans, but you know what? It's kind of a suggestion. And then, you know, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. The only difference is that usually we are so attached to those plans, they give us a sense of certainty. So we go through our daily life feeling that the future has a sense of certainty. There is a clear path. I can see it more or less. There are not going to be major deviations. So I'm good. And then a crisis comes and basically says, nope, you have no way of knowing, you know, the next few steps, only the one, you know, the next step, but you can't see more than 10 steps ahead, and good luck. So the main adjustment here is the adjustment of our state of mind, because
it's the only thing we can control.
Exactly. It is. So, you know, many times when I talk to my clients about regaining control, I say, you know what, let's get real. Okay, let's talk about control. What do you really have control over? And they go like, yeah, this and this and this. And I go like, really? Like, we have no control over the weather. We have no control over what's going inside our body. We have no control of the economy. You know, we have no control over so many things. Okay, it doesn't mean that we can't influence them. We can influence them, but immediately speaking, okay, we don't have control. Okay, if I go outside my door, I don't have control, and I have a plan to go to the grocery store. Can I really control the scenario? I can go there with the best of intentions. I don't know if I'm going to come back. Okay, sorry for being that pessimistic, but I'm trying to make a point that the only thing that we have 100% control over is the meaning we choose to give the events that happen to us. Meaning, we have 100% control over the perspective that we choose, over the perception, our perception of reality. And because perception is projection, our internal reality, our subjective internal reality, is the only reality that really matters. It's the only reality that really exists. So if I believe that something is an opportunity, the good news, it is an opportunity. And if I just believe something is not an opportunity and I'm doomed, the good news is I'm right.
So When you had your crisis, your medical crisis, there probably was a journey that you went through to be able to come out with this perspective. Is that true? Because I'm assuming, maybe rightly or wrongly, but I'm assuming that you didn't always have this enlightened perspective. Is that true?
No, it was a journey. So it actually started many years before. And there were a few very important events, very significant events in my life. And they weren't that positive, to be honest with you. They had a huge impact, but they weren't that positive. The first event was that I was sexually abused. And that was not the first time, but it was the one time that I have said to myself, enough, I can't take this anymore, because no one knew of the previous times. So I reached rock bottom, and I actually sat and wanted to kill myself. I just wanted to end it all. And at the time I had a license for a gun, so it was easy. I just, I loaded the gun and I sat there, with a gun, a handgun, and I said, okay, this ends now. Okay. And then I sat there and I said, well, this is easy. I can do this anytime. How about I try to just make it through one more day? Because this too shall pass. So that belief, knowing that I always have the option, I have the choice. What helped me was a sense of choice. I could always, check out. But right now, I choose to take one more step, and then another step, and then another step. And I did. And the next step that I took was actually called the hotline, called a hotline. Okay. For the first time, I actually spoke about what happened to me. And for the first time, I got help. And once I got help, I didn't need, to end my life. It wasn't relevant, but the option was still there. And that brought me to a realization that being alive is not just like living. Like living is a default, okay? If you're not dead, then you're living, okay? But to be alive, okay, to actually live it is a different state of mind. It's about being proactive. It's about living life to the fullest, and not just kind of staying alive. So that distinction, I couldn't really put it into words, but I could really feel it. And I said, if there's one thing that I know, is that I want to live fully. Later on, at the age of 26, when I was diagnosed, I actually had a near-death experience, which was beautiful. I went through the whole tunnel and I had an amazing experience. So when I was floating through this tunnel, I felt so loved. There was this image, at the end of the tunnel, which I felt was like a female angel. And I just wanted to come to her and hug her. And something stopped me. I think she did, because it was like I felt like something was holding my shoulders and saying, stop. And then in my left ear, I could hear a feminine voice saying, it's not your time yet. Wake up. So I woke up, emergency unit, beeping, all the things. And I realized, there's a meaning to life. I need to find mine. Because if it's not my time yet, then there's something I need to do. So I better get busy finding what is that thing I need to do. And the other thing is that I came out of that experience not fearing death, but really fearing not living a fulfilled life. Mm. So after that, a few years later, I came across shamanism. And in shamanism talks about being in service and being part of a huge web where you are in service of others and others are in service of you. And I said, okay, I got it. Okay. For me, fulfillment means being in service, and I am through medical coaching. So bringing all of that, that helped me look at my crisis, okay, because that near-death experience happened very early. Look at my crisis and say, okay, I am not my circumstances. There's something beyond. I am not my illness. I'm so much more than that. And there's something I need to do. Now, coming out of that crisis, I was told I had 2 years to live. And I said, you know what? Maybe I do, but I'm going to make these 2 years really count. Why? Because it wasn't my time yet. So there's something I need to do. So I'm going to do it in these 2 years. Coming back to the place where I can choose, even if I do have 2 years to live, I'm going to choose, and I can't choose how to live them. How do I want to show up? Who do I want to be?
Yeah.
And that's been the core for me. So it's the same here, okay? There is this crisis now. It's a given. Let's say that, you have the worst case scenario where you are confined to your home. You can't leave, okay? You have no control over that. But who do you want to be? How do you want to show up with yourself, with your loved ones in this space, with your community? Because we still have a community. We're not really isolated.
So, stories inspirational, absolutely. And it's as if that experience in your life, the ones that led up to the near-death experience and the turnaround, gave you a totally different perspective on life and death, mission and purpose, and that you needed to live a fulfilled life as opposed to just living life. And that's an important message, I think, for our listeners. And if they don't know what they're doing here, if they're just kind of going through the motions of, having a job, paying the bills, watching Netflix at night and waiting for the weekend, it may sound a bit like a stretch into a new level of consciousness.
It is a bit of a stretch. It is, and you know what? And it doesn't matter if you believe in the afterlife or not, whether, this is the only run you get, or you have this one counts, period. This one counts. How you are right now counts. But in order to do that, I think the first step is being able to be in the here or now, because we spend most of our time either reflecting, on what happened or planning for what's about to happen.
So let me be the voice of the naysayer, or as I like to call it, the yeah, but of the person who would like to disagree with you, because I can imagine that there are a few yeah buts in listening to your enlightened perspective. That's all I'm going to call it. It's beyond the everyday person. So let me just take on that role of the yeah but person. Yeah, but you don't understand how tough it is for me, because I've been laid off my job and I've applied for employment, and I have these kids and they can't go to school and they're in the house and they're making noise, and I don't know what to do with myself, and I don't know what to do with them, and I don't know how to plan or how to organize. I feel like I'm maxed out and there's hardly any resource left to be able to be sane. What do I do?
Well, the first thing I say is, I don't understand how it is to be you, because only you understand how it is to be you. But I do understand what it's like to feel like you're in a place of crisis and you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's just be with that right now. And let's take a deep breath. And first of all, realize that within this crisis, there's you. You are not the crisis, but you are in the middle of a crisis. So if we just kind of tune down the voices, we respectfully do that, okay? And it's just permanent, just temporary. What is it that you need right now? You, because it's just the two of us right now, okay? It's a conversation. What do you need right now?
I think to get out of the fear and the overwhelm and the panic that I'm the head of the household and I don't know what to do. So I can't, say to my kids, they're there, it's going to be all right, because I don't know that it is. I just don't know. And I don't have a lot of trust in, say, the government or, what their plans are. I just don't know who to turn to right now. And I feel like I'm not fully, as you say, present to be able to deal with the challenges that are facing, us all.
So let's first name the 2% truth here so we can respect it. And the 2% truth is your family is important for you.
Very.
And you're worried.
Yes.
Yes, and there's things that are happening that are outside of your control.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So first of all, let's respect that.
And they didn't
okay?
ask my permission either.
They didn't. They didn't. No, they didn't. Okay. So let's just say that, and the other 2% truth is that we don't know if it's going to be okay and how this okay is going to look like, because it's going to change at some point, but how we don't know. Okay.
Right.
And all of that, it's tough and it's challenging. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I want you to do is just be here with me right now. Okay. Because we know what is absent, what is needed, and we don't have right now. But if we take the attention in, what do we have? What do you have right now? In this moment with me, not generally speaking, right now.
Well, I have the choice to calm myself down or hype myself up. I have that choice. And if I notice and breathe and focus, I can probably get myself to a calm state where then I can be counted on by my kids and my family. They can count on me if I find the calm in me.
Mm-hmm. So you can count on the fact that you have this ability when you find the calm in you.
But I have to keep breathing.
Yeah. So first of all, the good news is we need to breathe in order to live. So you're breathing all the time.
No, but I mean really breathing, not just those little shallow, tiny little breaths, but really breathe and allow myself to feel the fullness of breath.
So I want to give you the physiological perspective.
Great.
Okay, because when we breathe those shallow breaths, we don't get enough oxygen in our system. So our brain doesn't have enough fuel. So the good news is that when you take a deep breath with me, you just increase the oxygen level in your blood, which means your cognitive abilities have just improved. So your brain is now able to find more solutions and remember things that you've already done and achieved, things that you know. So it's as easy as that, okay?
Yeah.
Take a deep breath and slowly exhaling. And this is yours. You can do that whenever you want.
That's true. Anywhere, anytime.
Exactly.
It's my breath. I can own my breath.
Exactly. Exactly. So now what I want you to do is take your attention inside the body, and locate the source of where is your source of calm? Because you have calm, you have the ability to be calm, and that has a source. Where is that located in your body?
It's somewhere between my third and fourth chakras.
Okay.
In here. It's not totally the fourth and it's not totally the third. It's kind of a blending, like at the bottom of my rib cage.
Does it have a color?
Wait a minute. It's an icy blue.
Yeah. And this icy blue source of calm looks like what?
It looks like a sun, only it's a blue sun. It's not a yellow sun, but it's a circle.
And now I want you to notice what's going to happen as I'm going to invite you to take one more breath, and that breath is going to activate that place so the calm spreads. And your body knows how to do that. I just want you to see it happening.
Yeah, it operates like an amoeba, kind of going to all the different corners and spreading out. So it's no longer a circle. It can morph all around. Yeah, it's very cool.
So your body knows how to do that. And you just remembered because you knew this. So that's one more thing that you have.
Yeah.
Now, what are two more things that you can trust about yourself? 100%. You trust them to be 100% true.
That I've overcome crises in the past.
Yeah.
Personal crises, some, national crises, some bigger crises, but nothing like this so far. This is the biggest challenge so far.
So that's the first thing. What is the second thing?
I can be counted on.
Yeah. So I want us to go back to the first thing. Okay? You can be counted on. The second thing, the first thing is that you have been through crisis before. So what is the good thing you're learning about yourself from that?
That I can be counted on? Well, I think the two different sides that are having the conversation, there's the side that says, yeah, but what's going to happen? Yeah, but we don't know. Yeah, but what if? And yeah, but. So it's that kind of fear-mongering part. Mm-hmm. And then the other part is the part that you're accessing right now, which is the grounded, focused, centered, can be counted on part. And I guess what we're doing is we're growing that calm, centered, can be counted on part. And we're kind of diminishing or shrinking the fear-mongering part.
And now we're going to reframe it. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to ask you to find in your body the location of this fear-mongering part. The yeah, but.
It's over my left shoulder.
Yeah. So notice the color and the shape.
It's a person. It's a person. It's a person with hair sticking out going, ah! It's a hysterical person, a panicky, crazy person who's like, oh my God. And a person who is full of fear and no trust.
So what I want you to do is I want you to ask this person, what are you telling me? What do you want me to know?
Well, they kind of want to have the part of me that's the rescuer to show up and fix it, save the day. Which is what I do a lot in my life as a rescuer and save the day kind of person. And I don't know how to save the day on this one.
Yeah. So that there's a request for some saving here.
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, there's no need to scream. Thank you. Okay. Now we know that the thing, underneath screaming is a genuine request for some rescuing. And the one thing we know about really responsible rescuers that you can count on, is that they know what is within their control and what is outside of their control.
Back to the serenity prayer.
Yeah. So, what is within your control?
My breathing, for sure.
Yeah.
That's within my control. And as you said before, my perspective, attitude, demeanor, the way I show up. And if I can allow my best self to show up, I can manage the situation. But I have to be the CEO of my life to do that.
Yeah. And you also know that you have rescuing abilities. You do. That's a lot. So within these rescuing abilities, do you have a hug?
I'm not if I'm practicing social distancing.
No, that's okay. Because I'm thinking, many times when people have a genuine request to be rescued, if we hug them, it calms them down.
That's true. So, I don't know if I need a hazmat suit to give a hug, but I'm in that place called, how do you hug when you're not supposed to have contact? It's really bizarre.
Well, you can start by hugging that little thing on your shoulder because it just requested rescue. Yeah.
All right. I kind of want to get away from that thing on the shoulder as opposed to hugging it. It's like, it's you.
Yeah, but you know how a child can throw a tantrum when all they really, really want is to be listened to?
Yeah.
It's kind of similar. So this little creature has been screaming, but all along there's a genuine request to be saved.
I think you're right. That sounds true. Maybe that's the 2% of truth.
Now, yeah, there's a lot going on, and there are things that we don't know. So we can't just, do like this and we rescue everything from everyone and everything's fixed. That's not going to happen.
Right.
But how can you rescue you in small, loving ways when you feel scared?
That's a really nice question. How can we, each one of us who is being a part of this podcast, rescue ourselves in small, loving ways to be able to bring back the calm, the focus, the present, the certainty, that I can be counted on, to not get crazy with the situation, and to be able to know that we're all in this together.
Yeah.
Great. I think that was really effective.
And I want to give another metaphor here.
Great.
And I want us to imagine ourselves in a little boat in the middle of the sea, in the middle of a storm. And we need to keep balance while the boat is rocking and the waves are high. We cannot control the waves. We can see them coming, most of them.
Okay.
But it's another way of keeping our balance. It's keep coming back to the calm. Okay, we might not be able to stay there for long, but it's about keep coming back to it again and again and again.
So it's interesting that you would mention that, because when I had my medical crisis, I went down to the south of Thailand and sat on the beach and wrote a book called The Waves of Change.
I know.
I compared change to, various different escalations from, a little ripple of a wave right up to a tsunami. And that the different types of waves can have the power over us, but then how do we be able to become a surfer as opposed to just a survivor or not? And so It's interesting, that book, it's in an ebook form, it's called The Waves of Change. It's something that's dear to my heart because I felt like I was in the wave. And some days it was a ripple wave, and some days it was a huge wave that I thought, I'll never survive this wave. And sometimes it was really completely overwhelming. And it was the capacity, like you, to reach out to others and say, I don't know if I can do this by myself and I need your help. Can you help me with this? And that made all the difference in the world of me being able to survive and thrive after my medical crisis.
Yeah. When I was young, my dad had taught me how to deal with high waves. And the one thing he said is don't fight them. There are two ways to deal with them. Either you take it, first of all, you calm down, you find your center. And then if it's a really big wave, you try to surf it. And if you can't surf it, it's a wave, you try to surf it. If it's a really big wave and you cannot surf it, then you take a deep breath and you go under.
Dive under it.
Yeah,
it's great. So some closing words to our listeners and watchers today that will allow them to, I just want to summarize a little bit of what you said, and then maybe there's some closing words you have. Number one, find a way to become present. Present yourself in your life, because becoming present, breathing into the present, allowing yourself to become present in the moment is very, very important to be able to access your highest and best self. Present is number one. Become present. And then utilize your breath to be able to allow you to breathe into that presence. Not just the little short survival breaths, but the deep breath where we celebrate life and we oxygenate our blood and our brain to be able to help us think clearly in the situation. And then to be able to find that calm place within. Look at it closely. See the color, see the shape, see what it looks like to us, and allow ourselves to infuse that calm place and have it spread throughout us so it grows and becomes bigger than whatever fear, concerns, or worries might be lurking. And
use the breath to breathe life into that place.
yeah, use the breath to breathe the life into that calm place so that it's not a, they have that shortness of breath. We want to create the longness of breath or the depth of breath. And then notice the part of you that wants to show up. As you said, how do you want to show up in this situation? How do you want to show up with your family, with your friends, with your colleagues? How do you want to show up? And ask yourself that question until you get to a very clear statement about the answer that you want. More?
Well, I think what we need to understand is that this might not end as fast as we want to. So this might not be a short-term crisis, like beginning, middle, and end. This might be more like beginning, middle, and hopefully it's going to be an end. Now there's going to be an end because things always change. But there's a new normal now, which is very different from the old normal. And it's different from the normal that will come after that. But it still needs structure. And you need to find a way to be you in this new normal, aligned with your values, connected to your resources, connected to other people. And that's really important. And one more thing about this new normal, this extended crisis, make sure to self-care. Okay, because long-term stress, what we call chronic stress, is very dangerous. I'm almost tempted to say that it's as dangerous as the corona, but the truth is, it's probably more dangerous.
So in our next podcast, can we do it about self-care? Because
yes.
Just recently you said it's not about getting a massage and having a mani-pedi. Mm-hmm. It's more on a deeper level in terms of your relationship with yourself. And I think that would be a really good topic for us to explore with our listeners. Are you okay with that?
We'll explore it. Oh, I'd love that. I love that. So we'll explore it, but we'll also offer a structure, a how-to.
Oh, great. Even better. Okay, so I just want to say thank you so much, Shiri, for joining us today, again, with your wisdom, your experiences, and your guidance during this time, because I know that the people that I hear from around the globe who are saying, are you okay? How are you dealing with it? Any tips or advice or guidance, besides just eating chocolate? Is there anything that you can advise? So I love these moments of us together, and we will do the next one very soon. And
wonderful.
So this is a big thank you to you for joining us and for helping my viewers and listeners be exposed to your wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you.
And from Dr. Cherie, this is a big thank you to you for joining us today, for tuning in, for watching, for listening, for caring. And if you like what Shiri says, if you like our interaction, share it with your friends, share it with your network, share it with anybody who can benefit, because that's what we're trying to do now, is to help people find their center, their 2% truth, their breathing, and to be able to show up as their best possible self. So thank you again, and we'll see you very, very soon.